Well, hello, and let me welcome you to another Pastor's Day Off video. A video that I have to say has been a very long time in being made, but then such was the last year that we've all faced that not very much was able to happen at all. But here we are at the beginning of a new year and the beginning of a new season, and very specifically today is Monday the 29th of March 2021, and that is the first time that I've been able to get out to my boat this year, being that the restrictions have changed a little bit for us today, and certainly my desire has been to come out here and check the boat over, Sovereign Grace, and make sure that she is still afloat. I know she is, actually, because a friend of mine sends me photographs to prove that fact. But to check her over, make sure the batteries are all charged up, make sure the engine will run and that everything is working okay, and most significantly to make sure that the water is on the outside of the boat and not having come in over this last winter. But then we can think about taking her out and using her this year, which is what we want to do. We are going to be trying to get to parts of the Broads that we haven't been so able to get to, and you'll see the reason for that in a moment, and also hopefully do at least one voyage this year that we will like you to come along and join us on, so that I can show you some more of the sights rather of the Norfolk Broads and the beauty that surrounds us here. So please join us in all of this, but the first thing we need to do, let's go and make sure that the boat is still okay. Well, here I am back down at Good Child's Marina, which is where my boat is, and there she is. Yeah, she's still afloat, although she needs a jolly good clean, but at least I'm happy with that for the moment. So let's go and check her over properly. Well, there we are. I'm back on board for the first time in I think about 6 months, and I've just unlocked her. So let's open her up and let's see that the water is on the outside, and yes, the inside is nice and dry, although I don't know how damp it will be in there. So let's get her properly opened up and we can go and have a proper look inside. Okay, so let's go on in. Oh. Yeah, she's looking a little bit untidy, but then that's probably the way that I left her, although not too bad actually, but she is all nice and dry. And the thing I do check, if I come down here, is I can pull back the carpet, and I've got a couple of little holes there that look down into the bilge, and there's absolutely no water in them at all. So probably, other than a good clean out and a good airing, there's not too much that needs to be done in here before we can start taking her out again. But let's try getting the engine started. That's the biggie. But before we do that, there's a couple of checks that I need to do. So I've moved back out now into the cockpit, and the first and obvious place to check is underneath the cockpit floor where the engine is. There's the engine there, a very good little engine. It's not a big engine, but it will still push this boat very economically along at about 6 knots. But the first thing that I want to check in here are the batteries, which are at the back, and specifically whether the batteries are still in good condition, and this is what we're looking for. These little inspection holes here on top of the batteries, if you look down in them, hopefully you'll see that they have a green indicator inside, and that tells me that those batteries are still good and should still be very well charged up, which is the way that they were left last year. Of course, the other thing that we want to check here before we even begin to think about starting the engine is that we've got the black stuff inside, and look, there is plenty of that on there. One word of advice that I always give to people when they're checking oil on boats is to make sure that you've parked your boat on a nice flat piece of ground so that you can check it properly. As you can see, this last year has been a very, very long year for all of us, hasn't it? But there we are. I'm convinced that that's fine, so I can now switch on the power and we can actually try starting the engine, and hopefully everything will work. And so I've just switched the battery switch on, which is actually under that seat. But one of the things I do need to do in starting this engine, she does like a little bit of throttle to start with, so I just open it out in neutral just to get her going. And then when we go inside, there we have the control panel for the engine. So let's make sure the lights come on, which they have done. She needs just a few seconds to preheat the engine. That should be about enough. And now, if everything is equal, bearing in mind that this has been been run for about 6 months, everything should magically start up. Let's give it a go. And there we have it. We have a working engine, which I'm very, very happy about, and it's sounding good. I might give her a little bit more throttle, but then there are one or two other things that we can check now the engine has started. So having started the engine on any boat, most of you will know that one of the first things you do is to check that there is water coming out of the exhaust pipe. Boats tend to use water from the river or the sea to help cool the engine through a heat exchanger, and if that water isn't coming out the back as you see it there, then it means that the pump, the impeller in the pump, needs replacing, although I'll probably do that later on anyway, because if that's not coming out there like that, you will overheat your engine, and so it's a very important check to make. So I'm going to let the engine just run for a while, just to warm it up and to let the oil circulate back around it. But as I do, I'm going to just speak about a couple of things here. Firstly, I'm going to tell you about the boat that's actually moored next to me. Now, this is a boat that has been newly bought by a friend of mine, and he is running it in order to give people the experience of going out on the open sea. It's called Jet Adventures, and I'll put a link in the description below of the website, but that's something, if you fancy going on a trip on a very fast rib out from Great Yarmouth, then check out the website and book yourself a trip out on it. It looks like an awful lot of fun, and I certainly know that he would appreciate some free advertising here. So there you go, John, a bit of free advertising for you. Now, those of you who are eagle-eyed might have already spotted that there is something very vital missing from this boat. I did say that we would have the opportunity this year to go and check out other parts of the Broads that perhaps we've not been so easily able to get to. And the reason for that is that this year, this season, I'm going to run the boat without a mast. Now, there is a practical reason for that, and that is because last season I did spot that there was some damage on some of the standing rigging that needs to be replaced, or the rigging needs to be replaced, and that can be a very expensive job to do, and so for the moment I'm spreading out the cost of that so that it doesn't dig too deep into my bank balance, and so that I can get it right over a period of time. But we are allowed to run the boat without the mast, and I've already informed the Broads Authority that we're doing so. It does cost us about £100 extra to be able to do that, but what it means is that we can actually explore areas of the Broads that we would otherwise probably wouldn't have done because of the need to keep dropping the mast. So this year we're going to run it without a mast. We're going to cruise around, we're going to relax, we're going to take the opportunity to make it a relaxing year on the boat, and then we're going to try and get under some of those bridges that otherwise would take a lot more effort to get under. So again, please join with us on the voyage. Hopefully this year we will get out rather a lot. We will enjoy getting out rather a lot, and if we can do that, we'd like you to come with us. So please look out for new videos being uploaded. Please like and subscribe if you can, and click on the little bell icon so that you can be kept up to date with our future adventures. But I trust that I can make it entertaining for you, and if you're not a regular visitor to the Broads yourself, that you would find it a place of interest. And even if you are, if you're not so able this year to come and enjoy the Broads, well, let us help you to enjoy it vicariously through these videos, seeing some of the sights that you have seen before, and maybe again that will give you the opportunity and the inspiration to want to come and check it out again for yourself. So I'll sign off for now. Thank you for joining me today. There'll be more adventures to come, so keep well, keep safe, and I hope that I can see you again soon. Bye bye for now.